Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak on It Sundays. I will be joined by Tia Marie shortly. So, I'm basically here to start off the show, and it's going to be talking about Black love, Black family, and I'm really excited to hear about the topics that Tia Marie has chose today. So, just I want to welcome everyone. Come on in and join in. We are streaming live on Facebook, also on YouTube, on Black Media Voice. So if you are interested in maybe going over to the YouTube page, you can hit that like and subscribe. And you can also share this information both on your social media pages, on your YouTube and your Facebook. And so I'm just going to be talking about a few things that I wanted to talk about. For one, I hope everyone's having a wonderful Sunday. I am Ra Aset. It's like, well, who is this person? I am Ra Aset, and I commentary on different hot topics that is happening in the Black YouTube sphere. I like to talk about relationships and different things that we can do in the community that is solution oriented. And so, one of the things too that we wanted to discuss are Black businesses. Now, I do not have all of the facts here with me, but thanks to Tia Marie, she has provided me with some. So, some of the Black businesses that we want to send a shout out to. No, I didn't say copy. I said open, open, open. So some of Ivy Kitchen and Cocktail. So this is a Black owned business. It is located in Detroit. So this will be on 9215 East Jefferson in Detroit. That will be. It seems like it's kind of close to Belle Isle. So let's see exactly where that's at. Oh well, no, it is closer to. So it will be between. What street is this? Van Dyke on Jefferson and McClellan. Now, I'm not, I used to be really familiar with downtown, but lately I'm not so sure. But it is close about, maybe not even a mile from Belle Isle going east. So just once you pass Van Dyke, it's going to be going towards that way. Looks like it's going to go on the east side, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So it's just like maybe a half a mile from Belle Isle. It is called Ivy Kitchen and Cocktail. So let's see. Their hours, they're closed on Monday. So we have Tuesday through Saturday. Well, actually, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they open at 4 p.m. So this will be more like a dinner after work on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. They open at 4 p.m. and they close at 12 a.m. And then on Friday and Saturday, they open at 11 a.m. and it's closed at 12 a.m. and on Sunday 11 to 10. So if you want to find a really nice restaurant, you're going to be in the downtown Detroit area, it is called Ivy Kitchen and Cocktails. So that sounds nice. I don't know, they got a really nice pictures and stuff too. Looks really nice. I haven't had a chance to get out lately. So again, welcome to the Speak on It Sundays with Tia Marie and Ra Aset. I am Ra Aset, and I'm just waiting on my co-host to come because everyone knows she's very busy and all of her meetings just kind of run in together a lot of times. So I'm just going to hold it down until she comes in. And we're just discussing some Black owned businesses that you guys can definitely patronize. Okay, so the next one we have is Nail Bites. Well, that sounds cute. Nail Bites is in Farmington. It is at 32809 Grand River. This is in Farmington, and it is should be between Farmington and Orchard Lake. And it's between Farmington Road and east of Orchard Lake. So this is like a really cute place. I bet it's really cute. This is called Nail Bites. It is a Black owned nail salon. Oh, it looks really, really cute. I could try to see if I can bring up the pictures on this one. This is nice. Very, very nice. So Nail Bites is a Black owned nail salon. If you're looking for something, this is going to be on the western side. So this is in Farmington, Grand River, between Orchard Lake and Farmington Road. So that's really nice. So Nail Bites. So we had Ivy Kitchen and Cocktails. That's in downtown Detroit. And then we have the Nail Salon, which is in Farmington. I miss Farmington. But I'm in Oak Park. I like Oak Park too, but this is one of the reasons I would like to have more walkable things in like Oak Park. So I gotta go way far just to get to a Target. That's kind of whack. All right, so sugar, please. Now, I have not been here because I'm avoiding all sugar or anything that looks like sugar, tastes like sugar. So sugar, please, is in the mall. So a lot of ladies, if you're in 12 Oaks Mall, just want to go and get some sugar, this would be in the she said it's an inside 12 Oaks Mall. You can look it up and see, exactly kind of where it's going to be at 12 Oaks. I haven't even been to 12 Oaks in like pre-COVID. That kind of sucks. Alrighty, so I think that will be one, two, three. Did you send me another one? But oh wait, got one more. Oh, now this one, I really feel bad because I haven't been here. This is a black-owned beauty supply store. It's called TG's. It's right in the smack dead, ladies. It is in Southfield on Telegraph, right just south of 9 Mile. So it's right there. It's between 9 and 8, but it's just south of 9 Mile. So just give us a few seconds, and we will be right back. Well, hello, hello. How are you? We hear you over there.
You hear me?
We
Okay.
hear you.
I've got no camera yet. I'm coming on with camera in
No,
just a
that's
moment.
okay. So I'm glad you were able to make it here. So
Thank
I
you.
was just talking to a few people about the black owned businesses, and so far we have been able to. Let me get back on cameras. I know you're not on camera, but we have been able to go over the Ivy Kitchen and Cocktails, which I'm really excited about. That it's on Jefferson. It's about
Yeah.
maybe a half a mile out between Van Dyke and McKallen. Looks and they now Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday they open at 4 p.m. So if anybody wanted to go, you want to think about that. But on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday they open up at 11 a.m. So and then we went over Nail Bites, which is in Farmington.
Nice. One of my favorite
Yes.
places, actually. I love
Uh,
going there. The owner has been extremely supportive of other businesses as well. So it's been a pleasure having her kind of on the team.
and
I'm
that's
just
really
doing a quick
important
sound
too.
check.
Absolutely. I hear you this just fine.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So you got to get some charge. So,
Well, thank you, everyone that is joining us tonight. We do appreciate you. We had so much fun the other night, and I did it rather late that I had a few friends say, "Hey, do it again. Just come on earlier."
so
So that
now,
that has been my goal.
now just for the record here, even though we are professional gals, I would like to say, I have a question for you professionally. Is this
Oh.
a professional format or am I casual? Like, what's the vibe here? Because this is your show. It is called Speak on It Sundays, which I love. And the topic is Black love and Black family. Now, I didn't even go over the really juicy stuff yet and really, exactly what we're going to touch on. But my question is, what are the rules here? What I can and cannot do?
Oh, yeah. So let me come on so y'all can see me tell y'all this. Let
Okay,
me
so
just
I'll
do a
wait for
quick.
that.
There we
Okay.
go.
Woo-hoo! Well, hello, darling.
Hello, darling. Or really,
Always
sister.
looking fabulous.
Hello,
Yes,
sister.
sister.
Thank
Sister,
you.
I love you very much. I hope you had a wonderful day
Thank you.
today.
I did try to, enjoy life, if
Well,
that
I'm
makes
feeling
sense.
really fun and happy today, actually. So I'm hoping that I can enjoy this after. So that's why I want to know, is this like a casual thing? Do I need to be, professional here? What's happening? Because I got some
So
things
on
happening in the background.
Sundays, yeah, so on Sundays, I just want to make it really, really relaxed with our families. But the rules that I
Okay.
do want to make sure that we follow is obviously no obscene language, no obscene imaging. We want to make sure that because some of our folks here may be actually sitting with their family, we want to make
Okay.
sure that we don't say anything that's not appropriate. Something that you wouldn't whisper in your grandmother's ear, please don't say it on the show.
I'm sure that I can make that happen.
Okay.
I'll
Now we will be removing anyone that comes on and kind of decides that they would like to put something on here that's not 100% appropriate. That won't be cool.
so
They will be
tell me
removed
if
from
this
the
is
room.
inappropriate.
If you have to ask, it probably is not.
Shake that thing, honey.
Ooh,
Did
yeah,
you?
probably
I
not.
mean, was it? Is that inappropriate?
I didn't hear all of it, but it sounded like it was
Shake that thing,
inappropriate.
honey.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Okay, so that will be on Friday nights.
I'm not sure what the after dark will be, but
Because I
I
need
don't
to get it
think
clear.
I'll make it real clear. Um, let's see. Now, I'm just trying to make sure I'm doing this correctly. Should I be live on Facebook?
You are already live on Facebook.
All right. I cannot find it,
So
so I'm looking
yes,
for it.
we are live right now on Facebook on Tia Marie Sanders Facebook, and we're also live on YouTube under Black Media Voice. And I'm going to
There
put
we
the
go.
links in the chat here too, so people can go and subscribe to Black Media Voice, which is a platform that is geared and catered to commentary about Black issues and solutions, and also providing resources. So if you are a journalist, someone is a blogger, and you like to add information, we would love to hear from you. And that's Black Media Voice at gmail.com as well. So I'm going to put some links here in the chat.
All
So,
right. So I just want to first acknowledge a couple of guests we already have, which is my sweet, sweet daughter, Taylor Banks, who should be able to join the program as well. Let me just make sure she gets a link. because she
Yes,
is
please
one
send
of
her.
our
I sent
special.
her the wrong link
Yeah,
too.
she is one of our special guests tonight, and
And
hopefully
I'm
she
going to put
will.
it in the chat. I think I can do that, right? So I do apologize for that. My beautiful, beautiful niece. I love her.
And
Sorry.
I would also like to acknowledge a friend from DC, Mr. Alexander, is also joining us.
Hello there. Nice to meet you. I'm glad you guys are here. Welcome. I hope we got some good information too, because even though, even recognizing some of the black businesses that we know out of state too would be great as well, because we have people watching us from all over. And I want to say hello and welcome to everyone. Well, there, I think we have someone that joined us. Okay. Well,
Let's see, was Taylor able to join us?
yes, yes. So we have now. Let me get myself together here now.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to get started. So go ahead and get Taylor locked in with us. And I will get us started. So, one of the topics that I wanted to talk about today, I'm going to do the light topic first while Taylor is joining us. My daughter is 22. I have another daughter that is 21 or 20, getting ready to be 21. And she is actually out on her own and was one of my daughters that during the pandemic she independently, because she had been working and making her own money, she moved out of the house, which I was very proud of her for being able to do so. I believe her plan was about a 6 month long plan, and she can kind of quote me if I'm right. When we talked about what it looked like for her to save her own money and be able to move out. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about any of our families that might be currently have adult children, and I say adult meaning 18 and older. Some of you have kids that came back because of the pandemic. Some of you had kids that are still at home because they just recently graduated or are home due to whatever, maybe financial reasons. And I just want to take some time because one of the conversations that I'm often having with a girlfriend or other couples or coworkers is, I have an adult child that lives at home. What does that look like? And so I do want to take a minute and talk about some of the ground rules for an adult child living at home. One thing that you want to think about is kind of sitting down as a parent and writing out what your expectations are. You also want to have your child, an adult child, write out what their expectations are. Often we assume that those expectations are the same, and usually they are not. Um, and so, sort of sit down, talk about what that looks like, write those things out, and then schedule some time so that you can have a discussion about those things. Uh, Part of the issue, oh, let's see, I got one comment here. One student that came home due to the pandemic. Absolutely. Um, First of all, I have to talk about two things. One, you have adult children who come home who you wanted to come home. And then some of us had children who came home who, by maybe no choice of ours or theirs, they had to come home if the school that they attended closed, if they had got into a financial situation where they could no longer sustain where they were. So we do want to think about that the child coming home may be coming home under a lot of different circumstances. Some hopefully are amicable, but some have come home due to no choice of their own. What we often do is having our kids come back home, which is great, is that it just sort of happens. We don't spend any time talking about it. We don't talk about their belongings. We don't talk about kind of, some parents have asked me, well, do you give your child a curfew? Do you give them, like one mom asked me before, she says, well, we don't smoke, but my child, after leaving home, started to smoke and now they're back home. How comfortable do I make them? So we're going to talk about all of that, okay? And please put your comments in the comment section. I believe Raw Asset is trying to get Taylor Banks into the room. Were you able to get her
Yes.
in?
So yes, I wanted to just I wanted you to, get out your introduction, what it's going to be
Okay.
about, and I'm really excited about it. I didn't know we were going into this direction, so this is exciting.
Yes.
So I'm going to
Yes.
introduce Taylor Banks in some seconds. I'm just going to bring her on, and it's welcome to you, welcome to the show.
Hello, Miss Banks. How are you? Y'all, that's
Hello,
little baby girl.
hello.
That's my
Good
oldest
evening,
baby.
everyone. I'm so happy to be here tonight.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you on here as well. Oh, you're getting a lot of love on Facebook, it looks like.
Oh,
I'm gonna
hey,
have to put my
everybody.
glasses
I'm
on
having a
because
little technical difficulties here. I'm trying to get that back up and running, but I'm glad I'm able to talk to you all right here. I just wanted to say hello, everyone. I'm glad you were able to make it. I've been sharing this all to everybody I know right now. I'm sharing it everywhere. But yes, you were speaking about what the living situation should be, and I remember when I said, you know what, I want to move out and what that would look like for me. And it was actually 3 months that I was able to
okay, I was
get
gonna
my
say I thought
own
it was about
car
three.
that I bought outright. And I was able to also get an apartment in less than 3 months.
And that was a
So,
discussion that we were able to have together, which was talking about what it was going to look like to save money, and what kind of range in terms of apartments. I also wanted her to be someplace that was safe. And so, yeah, she was able to actually do. I said it was about 6 months, but the 3 months. All right, we'll get you the 3 months.
about.
Um, but it was definitely a conversation that we had as she was at home and then moving out onto her own. Um, Especially that it happened, and then shortly after the pandemic was like going completely crazy, and you having to sustain that as you were
Yes.
out. And so, first of all, y'all, my daughter just looks beautiful. I just want to tell you, you look beautiful,
Oh,
lady. Um,
thank you.
Oh, and you got Auntie Natalie said, hello. I got Danielle. Thank you for joining us, Danielle. Hey, hey, Natalie. Thank you. Natalie comes by way of Michigan as well. Um, you all have a lot of sisters and I have a lot of brothers. So I will one day name all of them if I can remember to name all of them. But anyway, so back to the content. Um, One thing that I was trying to tell some of the other parents was is that this has to be a conversation, right? It can't just be that your child comes home, nobody talks about anything, and that they both put down kind of what their expectations are. So your child is coming back home with some thoughts about what being at home looks like as an adult now, and parents also have some ideas about what it looks like to have their child back home. And one thing that I've always tried to do, which is something that even my parents did, was try to understand that my daughters, while they are not children, meaning they are no longer a child, they will always be my child. And what that looks like is treating them like the mature adults that they are. And I remember our pastor saying, hey, try to move yourself into a space where one, you grow up with your children. So as you all were turning 18 and 20 and 21, I had to grow up into your 18-year-old hood and your 20 hood. So okay. Without disclosing too much private stuff, in general, how do you think we did with that transition? Or what would you say to other parents about just that topic, not treating your children like a child and but respecting that they're an adult?
Um, Honestly, what I will say just from our own personal experience, it took time, definitely. It did take some maturity and growing up, but I would say where we were strong at is just being very open and able to have those tough conversations. A lot of times people don't want to have those difficult conversations either because they just don't want to make someone feel bad or they just don't want to overstep. And I think where we had so much success was when we had those difficult conversations of these are the rules, these are the boundaries. This will always be your home, that's never going to change. You're always welcome here, but this is what it looks like while you are here, which is totally fair because when you have your own house, your own apartment, is your rules. That's like straight out the gate. At least that's what I believe. So, um, the fact that you set those boundaries and made it up front made it easier for me to understand, okay, well, if I choose to stay, this is what it's going to look like. But if I choose to move on out on my own, that's what it will look different for me. And that's where we had to have those conversations. They can be tough sometimes because you don't, as a child,
I'm sure we
it
had some
doesn't mean that
tears.
you're, I'm sorry.
I said, I'm sure we had some tears.
Yeah, like I'm sure we had those, but it helped us to move forward because um now that I'm going into adulthood, I'm no longer just the little kid that needs to always have my parent taking care of me and making sure everything is taken care of. Now I'm working, now I'm in school, and now I'm starting to see things differently. And that's why I say I think it did definitely take a level of maturity on both ends, and being able to listen to what you had to say, but you also were listening to what we had to say. And like I said, always knowing that your door will always be open no matter what. That helped me kind of helped me be at ease. But yeah, I think just having those tough conversations and just being open is what can help the
To ease
parent and the
that
child in
situation.
this
Yeah.
situation.
All right. And I have to remember Auntie Ra Asset has reminded me to keep our answers short. Um, So the other thing that I would talk about after we write down what to have encourage parents to write down what your expectations are of your adult child. The next thing would be to have that discussion, and do so with grace. Like I said, in our discussion, there were feelings and emotions, and there is a power dynamic. And so, but at the end of the day, what I want my daughters to always know, and what I always try to make sure that I do, is that their voice is um, as significant as my voice, that even if we're not agreeing, their point of view is still valued in the conversation, as well as whatever outcomes they anticipated having or whatever they hope to have come out of this. So make sure that as you're talking to your children, that you're not doing anything that would sever the relationship. It's not a situation where you're yelling back and forth. If you feel like you have to yell, you're probably not ready to have this conversation. And if you won't give that child a position where they can, give their point of view, you're probably not ready for this conversation. The other part that I will say is there's another component, which is financial. So in our particular case, I wanted my kids to be able to come home and actually be in a position to save money so that when they got out on their own, whether it be an apartment or whether it be a house or whatever their living situation was going to be, I wanted them to be in a position to save a certain amount of money, but also contribute a certain amount of money in the household. And it really is their choice. Every household has to run with lights and gas and cable and food and all of those things that make the house operate. And it is unrealistic. And whether I don't know, my daughter's making faces now, if she believes this or not, but it's unrealistic to think that those things can still carry on. And so it is good to establish like what that amount looks like. And I remember Taylor asking me, like, what would I have to pay every month? And I'll let you interject at this point.
Oh, do you want to be okay? So, I was gonna say, to your point of like, knowing when it's a good time to have these conversations. There were a lot of times we did have to take a step back, and we had multiple conversations. We didn't just settle on one thing as soon as we had the first conversation. There was some revising. There were a lot of questions that were asked. And a lot of times that we had to really just step back and say, you know what, maybe now is not the time to have the conversation, but we can reconvene next Saturday. And that gave us time to think, and maybe come back to some questions we may have had. And then also, yes, it took me having to ask questions if I was unsure about something, I had to say, okay, so what does this look like? And you had to kind of break it down for me so that I could get a better understanding, so that moving forward, again, I could know, okay, if I live here, this is what it looks like. But if I choose to move on my own, this is what it would look like. So there was two routes that I could take. And yes, you always let us know that when we came back home, it would be a way for us to save our own money, and to eventually get our own home. So those conversations were always had. And honestly, it shed light on things that I wouldn't have known had I not reached out to you and asked. And we just had this conversation. Like, sometimes as the adult or the parent, you can know things that I didn't even think of. So that also helped me see things in a different light, because I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about, oh yeah, the light bill has to be paid every month. Like, small things that you just think of automatically. I just was like, wow, that slipped my mind completely. So yeah.
Hmm. The main thing is that we both understand that I want what's best for her, and I think her understanding that I want what's best for her, and then her also expressing that she needed the room to grow and to learn and to make mistakes, because this is not a surefire 100%. Every family situation is going to be different. Every family dynamic is going to be different. And so I want parents to also make sure that they're making room and giving grace for. Oh, Aaliyah's joining us. Hi, Aaliyah. That's my other daughter. Y'all, I have a lot of daughters. So I have
Hey, Aaliyah.
my two biological daughters, but I also have a lot of what I'll just call just bonus daughters. And Aaliyah is one of them. So hello, darling. Um, and actually, I've actually helped some of my bonus daughters to hopefully have conversations with their moms, trying to get them to understand to give their parents some grace as well. Um, and so the other thing is that once you establish what it will look like for your family, be open to maybe doing a 3 month check in, maybe a 6 month check in, a 9 month check in, and just sort of make sure that now that you're in it and things are working and it's actually your plan is kind of happening, see if you do need to revise. As Taylor said, you got to be open to those revisions, because what works today, now that you're in it, may not work next month, may not work next week. And rather than people having sort of like hard feelings about something not going as they expected, you have already created a pre plan that in 3 months we're going to check in on this plan and see if it still works for us. Um, Now, I will say I am
Can I?
fortunate.
Oh,
Oh,
go
go
ahead. Go.
ahead. No, go ahead. No, go ahead, darling.
So I was gonna say, because I did move out during the pandemic. Why? I don't know. But 2020 was actually a great year for me. But just knowing that I always had the support, like, it was times my mother told me, um, if things don't look like they're going in the right direction,
Uh-oh, I think we're having a little technical difficulties from Taylor
Did we
here.
lose Taylor?
Yes. I think she
Okay,
froze
sorry
up,
about
but she could
that.
just no, that's okay. So this is what it's all about. And welcome to Speak on It Sundays, right? She could just give us a call right back. Yes.
Okay.
I think she's in
Hopefully
right
she can
now.
come
So
back
this
in.
is good, yes.
There she
Welcome
is.
back.
hey, I didn't know I went out.
Well, that's okay. I got you. So when you just go out,
Thank
just come right back in.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you to my
But yes,
production
I was
person over
just
there. He's
saying that
amazing.
knowing that I always had that support during this pandemic that we are still going through, that I always had a home to come back to, or I always had somewhere. If I had to make that call, hey mom, I'm having some trouble, that she would help me and assist me in the best way she could, so that I could maintain an apartment. Thank God that I was able to pay all of my bills on time, and I never needed to reach out for help. But I know that if I ever do, I do have that support backing me up while I'm on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also And I would encourage many of our parents to, we have a big family. So I have brothers and sisters that had children who were older than my children. I have my dad who had children, all of us growing up and growing out. So I referred often, don't be afraid to have these conversations with other parents or people in your family who have maybe had to go through the same thing that you're going through. This is a village process. It only works if you're in a position where you're having those conversations with family members and just sort of bouncing ideas off. It's not a matter of right or wrong. I don't want any parent to seek right or wrong because it's not a one size fits all. What I hope other parents will seek will be a best practices and what maintains the harmony in our home. And how do I make sure I don't sever the relationship with my child trying to navigate this process? And I don't take for granted that I know everything about this process, that I would refer to friends or family or other parents that are going through it. It is not easy to sort of try to manage your adult child when they come back home. So, Taylor, we want to talk a little bit about some of the rules that we had discussed for being at home. Or do you- well, one thing I have is like we have to. So I'll start with one, and then I'll. So as we are treating each other like adults, think of it similar to maybe a roommate situation, in terms of company. That's always a tough one. Should your child be allowed to have their own sort of privacy and company? And I will say to an extent, and that extent is obviously, you want your home to be respected, but they are also an adult. And if they are to start to learn what boundaries are, their boundaries have to be respected as well as their privacy. And as you extend that, I think you get the same thing back. So we have yet to bump into a situation where privacy was an issue because I try to make sure I give them some of their private space. Just that I'm out of the house sometimes. I may go shopping on a Saturday so they can just sort of have the house to themselves. And I think they do the same thing. Do you want to talk anything about that, Taylor?
So the biggest one that I can think of.
Uh-oh, did we lose you again, Taylor? Let's see. We heard the biggest thing that you can think of, and then you paused.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's the mic that's going out. And it's probably the internet because where she's at, the internet is just
Mhm.
it's not the best, unfortunately, and it's not. So, speaking of, struggling and going back and forth, that's what I've been doing back here in the background. So, let's really give it up to the
I
people
was
that's
about to say
really
to
over here doing the work.
I said, let's give it up for production, everybody. Can we get some hearts for production? I'm having some internet issues with my other
My
computer that
goodness, it's
so
like
we can't hear
nope.
you yet, Taylor. We
Can you hear
cannot
me?
hear you yet.
Oh, let me.
Nope,
Okay, so we still can't hear you. She must can't hear us either. It's your mic.
we can hear.
It's not. It seems like it must have. I wonder if someone calling because a lot of times, like when you're getting like a text
Oh
or a
yeah,
call,
well you may want to check
it
to
kind
make sure
of
you're not getting a call.
because her signal is something looks strong. Her mic looks like it's to be on our end over here.
Okay.
So
She'll come back in.
yes. So
Thanks, Mr. Alexander, for the applause to production. It's gonna be so much fun to watch later. Um, oh, applause.
oh, I
Yes.
think she's back. She's back. Okay.
So much fun to watch later.
Okay,
Struggle
I'm back.
streaming. I mean, really,
Are
give it
you
up to
on
struggle
earphones, Taylor,
streaming.
so you can hear if we're losing you or not? You can hear yourself.
Okay, I can hear now. Can y'all hear me
Okay.
good?
Yes.
Okay, so back on topic. So I was gonna say one of the biggest rules that I can think of, which it wasn't much of like a rule. It was pretty much just boundaries, setting those boundaries, because that's like a level of respect. Like you have respect for me and I have respect for you. And so what I was trying to say was we have a group chat. So you might want to start a group chat if you have more than one child, so that you
Yes,
can just
group
get the
chats
message
help.
out there all at once. So what we would do is, yes, if we did want to have company, of course it wasn't like late into the night. It would be during like daytime hours, and it would have to be something that was known prior. So it's like, hey mom, is it okay if my friend comes over? Let's use Aaliyah for example. Is it okay if me and Aaliyah stop by the house? Just grab a bite and then we'll probably leave, or we might. Or even my mom extended it, if Leah can't make it home tonight, she can stay the night. So it's just like just letting it be known when we were going to have company, so that we were whoever was in the house at the time knew what was going on. It wasn't like, oh, somebody's in the house, I had no idea. So that was like
Exactly.
the biggest one I could think of right now. So again, those group chats are crucial.
Yes, group chat has been the lifesaver for a lot of family communications. As I had to learn, the young people, they don't really call, and that's okay. Quick text is just, we even do a nighttime text if they are maybe not coming home for the night, which I respect. I don't necessarily need to know where they are, but just that they are someplace safe. They're in for the night. As most parents out there know, it is unnerving when your child is out there in the world and they're just kind of starting out at the 18 or 19-year-old. One of our rules was just that I just need that text that says I'm in for the night, I'm safe, good night. And we always say another thing that just I always want to make sure they know is that I love you. And they are often saying the same thing back. And that's the way we sort of keep our circle of communication going, so that we know that they're safe. And I do the same thing too. I don't ask anything of them that I would not also do, which is, hey, I'm in safe. That we all kind of do that last late night check in. We also use the group chat to do encouraging chats, to make sure that we're calling and checking in as well. So I
Like
will say, yeah.
I was gonna say just today, I just started a new job and I was sending pictures and just like getting excited and ready for it. And my mom's like, you got this, and remember to just smile and be yourself, and you're gonna do amazing. And then I sent pictures. My sister's like, great job. I'm so proud of you. So just to encourage each other, to be there for each other. And sometimes we do get busy, but that's okay because we always seem to reconnect and say, hey, we haven't talked in a while. Just want to check in with you, see how you're doing today. Like you just had to reach out to me, and it's like we'll think about each other, but because we're just doing so much at once, it's like hard to reconnect and send that text sometimes. But we'll be like, hey, I know we haven't talked all day, or we haven't talked much this week. Just want to see how you're doing.
Absolutely. And it actually makes me feel really good. Like I said, we're all very busy. And one thing you'll notice with your adult children that they create lives for themselves. So I don't keep tabs on what their day is. I know they're working or doing whatever they need to do. I also trust them. A big part of this, to some of our parents, and I know it is difficult. So to my girlfriends and to my fellas, it is extremely difficult having adult children. I'm not taking that for granted, not for 1 second. We have all had our personal challenges with having adult children, but I want us who maybe have a few more years on our kids and the maturity to be the ones to take the extra step back and to say, what is important here? Am I trying to control, or am I trying to manage circumstances, or do I trust my child enough to make the best decision? I know what I instilled in them. I know what our family as a whole instilled in them, the values, the thought processes, the decision making. So I trust and I encourage them to exercise all that training that I know they received and that they can continue to receive. At the end of the day, they will make mistakes. Parents, listen to me and listen to me clearly, and you can say it with me. Your child will make mistakes. And you know this because one, you were their age before, and number two, you still make mistakes. So, yes, they will make mistakes, and yes, they need to have space in order to make those mistakes so that they can grow. You did not become the person that you are today without having made a lot of mistakes. And your kids, you and your kids need to talk about what those mistakes look like. I've never tried to sugarcoat things for my daughters, meaning, I've let them know where my failures were so that they don't feel like they can't fail. I support them no matter what. So, and I also try to give them a heads up that failure is coming, but failure is not something that in our family we try to run from or hide from. In our family, we look for those gaps in those parts so that we can adjust and be able to support and auto correct, if you will. Did you want to say anything about that, Taylor?
Honestly, just that it was a point in time where you had to tell me, like, I tell you information not to tear you down, not to make you feel like I doubt you. I'm giving you this information so that you know ahead of time. So when things happen, you're not caught off guard. You're prepared for them. And also I've had to, because it was a point in time I'm like, Mom, come on, what are you? I don't want to hear this. Like, because I was younger. I'm trying to. I'm a teen. I'm being rebellious and things of that nature. But as I've gotten older, I know that you have my best interest at heart. So nothing you're telling me is trying to stop me or put me down. Is to let me know, because you've either been through it, you've read about it, or you just already know what it's gonna look like. Um, so just trusting what you're saying, and believing that, not even believing, just knowing that you have my best interest at heart, and anything you tell me is to better me. So just being confident in that, trusting that, and yeah, that's really all I had to say. Like, I always knew that you love me no matter what, you believed in me no matter what, anything I wanted to do or pursue in my life, you were always going to be there for me to support me. So yes, definitely support and love just took me very far, because I just always knew I could do no wrong in your heart as long as I was on the right path. Because you would tell us that if we not in the wrong, you're there for us. But if we were in the wrong, then it's nothing you can do for us.
I'm like, there is a point once you get out there too far, you may get out there so far, I cannot help you, right? And I think I've been telling you all that since you were little. I said, I am the mom that if it comes down to you calling me and like, hey, I got a body in the trunk, I'm like, let me get my shovel, right? Because I got you. Now we're gonna talk later about why I'm getting a shovel, but I got you. And having that meant that I got the phone call. I always tell parents, you want to get the phone call when your child is in need or in trouble or whatever the case may be. You want to be the person that they feel like they can call. It is less important that I go through judgment and all of those types of things in the emergency. We still have a talk about it. Don't think for a second we don't talk about it. We do, but I always told them I wanted to be the phone call that they made in the case of an emergency. And if they could not call me, I was also very clear that they have aunties, uncles, grandpas, grandmas who, if they felt like they couldn't talk to me, they were not void of talking to anyone. I always encouraged them to talk
Yes.
to those other family members.
I just want to get in here and jump in because I know I'm going to have to.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much
Absolutely.
for allowing me. Yes. My question actually is going to be to Miss Taylor. I know you guys are talking about how your mom is there for you and how that has built a foundation. And so I just want to ask you a question. What would you say to the young ladies who do not have a mom or a dad that actually, they don't have any support, right? So what are some of the things, like, because are you feeling very elated and stuff? You can have a lot of our other young people who really don't have anyone to talk to or even to guide them. So what are some of the things, some solutions possibly that can help? You said something about a sister circle.
Oh, I would say that is a great question, because not everybody has those resources. I will say, where maybe I couldn't talk to maybe a family member, I would seek counseling so that I could have someone to talk to, and get my thoughts out and feel heard. Also, I would say seeking mentorship as well, male or female. Like, for instance, my business, I had to I was very lost, but once I was able to pair up with a mentor, things started to make more sense and fall more in line. So I would say mentorship can help where you may not have a parent, a mother or father.
Mm.
Also my aunts and uncles. So I'm sure some or grandparents, even friends, I would say too, because your friends, my granddad will always say is your friends will teach you right from wrong. And they'll call you out when you're not on the right path, and they'll help you get straight. And I've been lucky enough to have some really great friends that we text each other all the time. Hey, let's meet up, or hey, we got to get this homework done, or we got to have a study table. So reaching out to friends, family, mentors, counseling, um, those have been the other outlets I've used. And I would say also doing research on certain topics. Like if I'm unsure about where to go get my oil changed at, and I'm maybe don't have a parent or a grandparent to guide me in that way, just doing my own research on my own on my own time. I will say those are some things that I can think of right now. I don't know if you may have had any that you could think of, but those are the ones I can really think of right now.
I think that was amazing. Maybe Tia Marie can maybe help. Maybe where do you go and get the mentorship from? Like, so I want to have a mentor. Where can I look at to get that?
So I will say I've worked with a few different groups. So on the mental health tip, CNS Healthcare, which is the only one that I can think of right now that's across the United States. So regardless of where you might be watching or listening from, in the state of Michigan, CNS Healthcare is a free healthcare service where you can actually do it online or in person in order to have someone that you can talk to that's a licensed person. It's absolutely free from age 0 to 1 million. CNS Healthcare, if you get a chance to look them up on Facebook or on online. In terms of mentorship, there are several groups. I'm part of one group that has been really great for mentorship. It's been Pretty Brown Girls. It has been Style Sisters Teaching Young Ladies Excellence, which is a group of great mentors that I'm a part of. My sister, Vanetta, thank you so much, Vanetta. She's reminding me that Eastwood Clinic, and if you guys have some other suggestions, please feel free to put them in the chat. But those are just to name a few. In terms of other mentoring, check with your local church. If you're part of a church, there's also something in the East Lansing, I'm not East Lansing, I'm so sorry, the Ann Arbor area called the Girls Group. There are really all kinds of organizations around that are looking to support young ladies in whatever their endeavors are so that they have that support if it isn't already in your family or even if it is in your family.
It's excellent. So I'm over here struggle streaming, but thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going. Yes, I'm going to go back in the back. I love this conversation. I do have one interesting question.
Hmm.
So Taylor, when your mom was growing up, and your mom had to talk to you about the birds and the bees, at what age
Oh,
was that? Do you remember?
I
Oh,
remember.
Do you?
I want to say, I think it was when I was going to high school. It might have been sooner
Well,
than that.
that was the
Oh,
more
more in
adult
depth one,
version.
yeah.
The first,
I'm not that
she may not remember the exact time when,
yeah.
but as we all know, young ladies start to flower very early, and both my daughters flowered early. And so that conversation happened early to discuss not only just the biology, but what the impact of that biology meant. So I'll keep it nice and
I like
light
that.
because I don't know who all's watching and if there's really young kids watching. So I'll just say uh I suggest that parents have that conversation earlier rather than later, especially for their kids because if you all pay attention to some of the national statistics, the age in which young people are engaging in adult activity happens a lot earlier than maybe it happened for you in your generation. And so it is best to have those conversations early, as early as possible. It does not encourage the activity, which is often a myth, but it does open up and begin the dialogue where you and your child are having these discussions and having them comfortably. There's a lot of resource materials out for that, to help young boys and young girls, one, understand the biology, but what is most important is that they understand the impact of those of the change in their biology. And I am using a little bit of code, parents, so work with me here. That they understand the impact that their actions may have in the space of that changing biology. So please talk to your kids early and often, as it comes to that, and then talk about preventative measures for some of the impacts, and talk about the health impact to some of those decisions that they will make. They will definitely feel more comfortable to come to you, if you start those conversations early, and it will help build a stronger relationship between you all. And just know that they are still going to make mistakes. They are still going to make decisions about things that maybe you would not have chosen for them, but it should not diminish your love and your support and your open ear. Even if you may not be very pleased or be dissatisfied with the decisions that they make, don't let it deter the relationship or damage the relationship. And I have been guilty of that. I'm not speaking from excellence. I'm speaking from experience, that if you bumble that, you could potentially sever the relationship and cut off the communication with them if you're not mindful of that.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate that. I also listened to somebody said their child moved back in during COVID time, moved back in, and Taylor
Mhm.
moved out. So you had one that moved back in. I would love to hear
Yeah.
their
So
experience on that
so I would love to have Cameron is actually sleeping right now. She's my adult child that currently lives at home. And I was going to say, when we were talking about rules and just sort of like expectations, we talked about what bills could she help pay, what bills would she pay on her own, how much could she potentially save every month. That is a family discussion. Those are family decisions, in my opinion, because eh, both parties are impacted by that. So,
one. Yeah.
excuse me, sharing what your bills are so they understand that these things cost money. I've had some parents say, "Oh, I never talk to my kids about bills." That would not be wise.
No,
The way for them to learn is to talk about that. The other thing a lot of parents will say is, "I don't talk to my kids about my salary." That would not be wise.
I
We
agree.
talk about salaries all the time. We talk about how much we make. We talk about how much it takes to operate in the household. And the reason why we talk about that, I know that those subjects have been taboo,
Which
but they,
I'm sorry not to cut you off, but you are correct. I
yeah,
didn't realize how taboo that is, but I would think that would help set your kid. You can't give them the exact number if you feel some kind of way about it, but give them a round amount of money. Like I told Brian, whatever you making now, times it times 5 every 2 years, because this is how you just giving. This is how it's worked. This is what's happening at this point. Maybe back then you might
mhm,
say two or something like that, but now things are a little different. But like we should,
mhm.
those should be normal every day at the dinner table, talking about all of this.
It really should. It helps them to not only, like we talked about, what they could expect in income for particular jobs. We talked about the cost of school. We talked about the cost of things like a car, your first car. These were conversations I grew up with as a child, with my parents. It was something that was often talked about. So they were not taboo for us. And I hope, and we'll let Taylor chime in as well. I've been doing a lot of talking, that my goal in sharing this with them was, one, to give them a realistic preparation, but to also answer questions that they might have. So, Taylor, I'm gonna give you the floor if you have anything you want to say, and I'm gonna mute for a moment and try to look and see if we have any comments. So I'm paying attention. I'm just looking at comments.
Real quick, I just want to say that when I got my first check, I came home, I'm like, Mom, I got my first check, and she said, "Come here." Sat me down. We opened up the envelope, and she pointed to each thing. She said, "Okay, here's your taxes. Here's your medical. Here's how much is going to you," and just showing me how all the money was being dispersed, so that I could have a better understanding and so that I could ask those questions if I was unsure. I do remember that.
I was going to say those are really interesting conversations because my youngest daughter, who hadn't started working yet, was like, "Wait a minute, I don't want to pay taxes." And we had to let her know like it's not an option. But this is how you maximize your tax benefits. This is how you manage yourself. And this is we start talking about second jobs. Remember that, Taylor? We start talking about okay, to offset some of that, might need a second job if you still want to save the amount that you want to save. We also talked about how much they could spend in a month and what they could spend it on, so that they were thinking responsibly about how they spent their money. Those were things that we talked about, and we still talk about.
And I also remember when you took me to get my debit card for the very first time. Something that I was kind of nervous about, but like excited at the same time. You put me at a complete ease, just walking me through the steps so that I could be financially literate and to know this is how you go to a bank. This is how you set up an account. So much that I was able to go on my own and set up a savings account. So not only do I have a checking, but now I have a savings, and I feel confident and comfortable, and I know that if I ever needed anything, I am able to go to my bank and speak with whoever I need to get more information. It was a point in time where I was thinking about opening my business account there. So it was just being comfortable and not, like we were saying, a lot of these things are taboo and they should be very normalized, especially in our community where they're not. So it does take that exposure and having someone such as a parent or maybe a grandparent taking you to these facilities and showing you this is how this works, this is how you make a bank state, like all those different things, this is how you cash a check, so that we're comfortable and aware of those things, so that when it does come time to cash a check or to open up a savings account, it's not like, oh my god, what do I do? It's like, I've done this before. I feel comfortable. And then always knowing that, hey, mom, I need some help. Can you walk me through so that I can understand better? Or I remember one time you showed me this, but can you just show me again or tell me again? So, yeah.
So I do want to say we have a couple of things. Thank you, Vanetta. She's just reminding me to share a couple of things. One, hopefully, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to read a couple of these statements. I don't know if anybody can see all of the statements, but she put down my OBGYN is a great friend of mine, and I asked her to break it down for, I'm assuming, my nieces, because she didn't feel that her child would take it from her. She also understands the privileges and the consequences and the options. And she's saying taxes. So yeah, that was, if it can't come from you, get the doctors in on it if that helps. Um, and let's see. And then Mr. Alexander is saying, yes, it's good to talk about finances, cost, car maintenance, rent, the metro, pension, cost of food, etc. Absolutely, absolutely. So the other thing I want to talk about and thank you guys for your comments. We appreciate it. We're still trying to catch them. I think my Facebook has a little bit of a delay, so I'm sorry if I'm not catching all of your comments at the right time that you're submitting them. Um,
Yeah, your Facebook got more than a delay. It got a block. So that's why I can't see any of the messages on here. So I gotta go through all of
right.
your
So
stuff.
I'm trying to figure out how do I unlock
You can't.
those.
I got it, but I gotta do some magic.
Okay.
So just keep talking.
So let's talk about this, Taylor. Let's talk about arguments, because some parents are going to be out there and they're going to be trying to talk to their kids about some of this stuff, and an argument is going to come up and feelings are going to be hurt and people are going to be feeling some kind of way. What would you say to parents or their children about how to resolve arguments in this space about living at home? Deep breath, everybody.
For arguments, I'm going to say be prepared, because there is going to be some yelling, there is going to be some tears, there is going to be maybe not talking for the rest of the day. Um, but what I will say actually to the children that move back home is you need to come from a place of understanding and knowing that your parents are only trying to set you up so that you're on the best track possible. As much as you might not want to hear what they have to say, you have to listen. And also what I will say to the parents is there will be times you need to take a step back if you feel yourself getting too upset or just very emotional. It's only because you're so passionate and it's your child. You want the best for them. Also, speaking in a very monotone voice will help as well during those arguments.
Can I just say how many times they go, but mom, it's the way you're saying it. And that's fair. I get that. I always say, let me take a deep breath. I'm not, and your sister is on the sideline here. I don't think she wants to be on camera, but your sister is reminding me to give space for those feelings and that the feelings might be different, and respect for boundaries as well,
Yeah.
or how
Well,
they
hey
express
Cam.
themselves. And your sister says, thank you, Cam. That's just, and one day I'll
I
have both of
said
them on
hey.
here. Oh, she said, hey, Cam. She said, hey.
And
So,
yes, emotions will definitely be high. Um and like I said, it's gonna be those arguments, but I will say it brought us closer together, and it helped us to understand a different way of communicating. um for me, it's been times where I had to say, well, hey mom, like, maybe I wasn't right, or maybe the way you approached it wasn't the right way. Like, but my mother had to be open to hear me say those things, because as the adult, as the parent, you don't want to hear your child tell you you said something that might have offended or caught them off guard. You're like, well, I'm the parent and I'm right, and you have to listen to me. But as you're becoming an adult, you have your own viewpoint, and because I was raised where my voice was always heard, I didn't feel uncomfortable to speak how I felt, to be heard, even if it was my mother I was speaking to.
yes, so we do, hold on, let me make sure. Yes. And we do try to make sure that, again, if it's getting to where we're just like not getting anywhere, we don't have any problem stopping, with the promise to each other that we'll have to talk back at another time. Because I am so passionate, they are literally extensions of my every breath and my everything, that it is sometimes very difficult. So I have to also manage that I am being objective and not, and giving them options, and not speaking from like too much protection, and not allowing them, hey, my brother Nate is on here, thank you, brother Nate, um one of my youngest brothers, but that they have some, that I'm making sure that I'm speaking not just from a place of fear, or fear for them, or not wanting them to fail, but that I'm giving information, letting them make the decision. And all my job is to support whatever they're doing in their decision. And that's not easy, but it is something that we try to navigate. At the end of the day, they both know, under every possible circumstance, that I do love them dearly, and that I do mean for them to do well. It just did not always come out the same way. It's kind of funny because they have a name for me, that they call me when I am being outside of myself. What's the name again? Cameron. So Cameron calls me Danita. Okay, and Taylor says woman. But it actually kind of jars the whole situation, makes us laugh, makes us kind of like, it diffuses it. So I'm not offended when I know that they are calling me a name. And actually, thank you, Danielle. Ware is putting in. She has two daughters as well. They are almost you guys' age, a little bit. One of her daughters is a little bit younger than you all, but she's putting in the comments that I constantly have to check my fear and not put it on my children. Very, very good point. I thank you, because that is absolutely right. Mr. Alexander put, yes, we parents have to listen to our grown kids who believe they know it all. It's hard for us parents. Yes, that is very true. Thank you. Very good point. Um, and so, parents, make sure you give yourself grace, give your children grace. It is not easy growing up. I am going to start to wrap up this section because I know some of you tuned in. And so help some of your other parents and cousins and sisters and brothers who have adult children. If maybe you have to interject and kind of pull their coat to do better. Um, if you won't be in the shot, you can stand as close as like right here. Don't come no further than here. Okay. But if you have a sibling or a friend or a cousin, pull their coat. Say, hey, I know things haven't been working out with your adult child at home. I don't want to see this cause long lasting damage to your relationship with your child. Can I either intervene, maybe mediate for you? Maybe they can't talk it out. Maybe they have to write out what they want to talk about with a mediator and then have somebody help facilitate and guide the conversation. I love your sister saying hi, Sissy. You guys have to, at the end of the day, the main point is your children move back home is that they get the support and the guidance and the love that they need so that when they do go back out into the world, they do so knowing that one, they're not severing their relationship with you, that they do have your support and your love, and that you will always be a guiding voice in their life. And you will actually be so proud and so grateful for what they turn, how they turn out and what they develop into, because nobody knows. All that your job is not to decide what their end game is going to be or their impact. That's their own destiny. Your job as the parent is to figure out how do you support so that they are able to grow and blossom and make good decisions. And do so with your family's backing. And I'm not talking about condoning anything you don't like, because they definitely know my opinion or my thought about something, but that does not waver in my support or my love. So, to be clear, you can share your thoughts and your feelings about it, and they often know when I'm sharing. But it does not waver that I would not support them and back them up and financially if, or emotionally, whatever they might need. I'm going to let my co host share any thoughts, and then I'm going to give Taylor the last word on the subject of adult children at home. And then, Ra Asset, you help us get into our next segue. Are there anything else that you would like to add? Last thoughts?
Biggest thing is having a plan. So when
Oh,
your children do move back home, the first step should probably be sitting down, coming up with a plan for what it's going to look like. You set your boundaries. You understand what they need from you, what you need from them, so that anytime anything does arise, that's always something the both of you can look back on and say, hey, this is what happened. And of course, edit it as well. But definitely having a plan, just knowing what each other wants, and then executing that with love and respect and boundaries.
so
Boundaries.
hopefully you guys heard that. She just said having a plan. She actually recapped a lot of what we talked about. Having a plan, talking about the boundaries, negotiating the boundaries if necessary, and doing so and having that discussion with respect. And I could not have said it better. But I'm going to give Taylor the last word on this subject, and then we'll move into our next segment. Thank you all for who did join us for this segment, and stay tuned for our next segment, which is going to be on couples leveling up.
Okay, last word. No pressure. So I was gonna say, love is going to be the biggest force in this whole process. And grace is going to be big. I had to give my mother grace. My mother had to give me a lot of grace. And always listening. And a lot of times people say that you're listening but you don't understand or you're not hearing me. So um being attentive, not always trying to just get out what you have to say, but listening to what each other has to say, and analyzing that and seeing, wow, okay, I can understand why they may have perceived it that way. Also being able to admit when you were wrong too. There were a lot of times that I had to come to my mom like, Mom, you know what? I was wrong. I messed up. But here's how I want to make it right. And vice versa. There were times my mother, I would make a decision, and at the time she's like, being a mother, and is like, well, this and that, and did you think about this, and I know you're feeling this way, but just stick it out. And it's like, whoa. But there were times that she had to come back to me and say, you know what, I'm sorry. because I realize God does have you on a certain path, and me interjecting and putting my maybe fears or my opinions on it at that moment can confuse you or distract you or take you off that path. Um, and the support, I have my mother's support, whether I'm moving out, whether I'm out on my own, or whether I move with her. Just always knowing that I do have that support. And I would say those are the biggest things, really. But love is definitely going to be what is going to help you get through all of it.
That was very, very beautiful. And you said something, Taylor, that was awesome. You said grace and love. And I haven't heard that in a long time. And that's exactly what we all need. We need a little grace and some love, and it can take us a long way. So I just want to thank you very much. You're just a beautiful, lovely young lady. I'm so proud of you. I really am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Love you too,
you.
Auntie.
Yes. You did good, Tia Marie.
You're welcome to stay for the second segment too. So you may have something you want to interject on that.
Yeah, I'm
Definitely.
thinking about it, you know.
Yeah, 'cause I'm curious too. Now, I'm very so now this next segment. And by the way, I just want to thank everyone. I do want to send an apology to everyone that's on the Facebook. For some reason, it is very. I think I'm going to have to. Once we get off the live here, I'm going to have to go back and redo your settings, Tia Marie, so that way it's blocking us from seeing everyone's comment. And everyone's making great comments. So I do want to apologize because I would love to acknowledge your comments, live. But Tia is reading those. Tia Marie is reading those comments, so I do apologize for that. And because they're making some really good points, I just want to highlight a few things. But struggle
Let's see.
streaming. Welcome to the. Well, this is episode 1, right? So I think we're going to get better from here, right?
Yes. My sister wanted to join. She said her phone is preventing her from joining. So I am sorry about that, sister.
So your
Uh,
phone, yes, your phone is asking for permission to join. So it's going to ask you some questions. 'Cause that's what's happening. So you have to give that okay. Or you can get on your computer and you don't have to cam up. We're not mandatory demanding people to cam up just yet because I told you guys I told your mom what happened. People are
if
doing some
anybody,
crazy things out here.
yeah,
So
if anybody has any questions about the last segment, please feel free to let us know. I'm trying not to go over y'all. I lose the time so fast. We've been on for about an hour and it goes very, very fast. So I don't mean to keep, having a really long segment, but as
We
we
having
move,
fun.
we're having fun. Okay. And
We're
and if
having
you're
fun.
watching this later, you can fast forward through parts two. All right. So we are going to move into the couples leveling up. What does that look like? So, coupledom, it is almost as challenging as parenthood, if not more so.
Shake that
I
thing. Shake
don't
that
know
thing.
what just happened. Okay.
you said couples. I mean,
Uh, So as oh my goodness, we're gonna try to keep it PG still.
I
Hopefully the
didn't
kitties,
say
all of the little kitties are out of the room, and this is
so it's time to go to bed
the
'cause they got to go to school in the morning.
okay, yes, time for the little kids to go to
Just go to
bed.
bed.
So one thing that I will talk about in coupledom in terms of leveling up, if we will. And I think I even put in the statement, the couple bag. Right now, some of the vernacular talks about, individuals getting the bag. Like, you go out and you work hard, you go and you're on your grind, and you're securing the bag, if you will, for yourself. And while that is amazing, what it implies sometimes is that there isn't a bag that you're collectively working on as well, right? And so
Oh, okay.
I don't want us to lose that momentum because
Mm.
your partner, yeah, your partner and who you choose as a partner should be on that same path of
Wait,
making sure you secure your
I
bag.
need a sign to stop the car. Hold to stop the car. So are you saying that if I'm getting my bag, I'm getting money. my mate has to be getting money too. Is that what you're saying?
No, no, no. What I'm saying is the leveled up that you do. So a lot of us individually have a level up process. And what I don't want us to lose sight of is that as we then partner, we stop our process. Now, your
Oh,
level up process may look like a lot of things. I've heard some people refer to securing the bag, which is, continuing to develop and grow financially, growing and developing educationally,
okay.
mentally, emotionally, your status in terms of how you show up in your community. So, to me, the couple securing your bag looks like that grind doesn't stop. It just now becomes both of your priority.
Together, are we working together, or are we still working separately, and then separately and together?
I so on your development, you are always developing yourself as an individual, but
Not
the you said not you. You're not
I'm saying
developing
right here.
yourself.
Nope. Mm-mm. This is it.
You're not.
This is
Well,
it.
actually, so ladies and gentlemen out there, if you're with a partner that is not continuing to develop themselves, you may
Mm.
want to reevaluate your partnership.
Maybe that's why I'm
Uh,
single. Damn.
it,
That's
it
it.
could,
I think we
hey,
found
it could be. It
it
could
could
be.
be because I don't want to. Nope. I'm gonna stay right here. Okay. So explain it to me. Thank you. I'm sorry.
So, what it looks like, in my opinion, and again, all of these are my opinions, you all. This is not like, you will still have to navigate and find your own
These
method
are
of
just
this.
are solutions that you think that can
But
definitely
these are some
benefit
solutions. Yes,
relationships.
yes. First of all, again, as we talked about in our last segment, communication. There should be no time where you are not having a conversation with your partner regarding future plans, especially the financial plans, because what I do today financially could impact positively or negatively what we plan to do in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And so these are communications that need to happen. But before we became partners, hopefully we've talked about what is your relationship with money? What is your relationship with decision making? What is your relationship with how do you resolve conflict? What is your relationship and how do you manage um, adversity? These are some of the discussions that should happen before you become a partner with someone and start to share resources with another person. And oftentimes we are missing just that part alone. I'm going to try to see. Oh, wait, let's see. I'm sorry. There are some comments. Let me just get caught up here on comments real quick. Taylor, are you in here as well?
You want me to check the
Okay.
comments? I haven't seen
No.
anything yet though.
Okay. All right. We're good. I'm watching because if my Wi-Fi does something weird, it may not show me the comments. All right. So if
No,
you see some
I haven't
comments,
seen anything yet.
okay. All right. So having those conversations about expectations. If you had a quote unquote grind, so we all talk about like black girl magic and whatnot. Like, I don't want you to lose sight of your glow and your magic. Just figure out for you and your partner how they can continue to support your black girl magic, how they will uh, come and show up for you so that you can maintain your grind and what that looks like. Partnering should not look like your dreams and your aspirations are not still something that you can pursue. In my family, we talk about our dreams and our aspirations all the time. It is something that I grew up having that kind of support, and in your partnership, it should be no different. Around it. Oh, I'm sorry. You had something you were saying, Raasa?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Um, so make sure that you are in a position with your partner that you all are talking about your dreams and your goals. One recommendation I would make for this year, I think I mentioned it the other night, which is putting together a couples goals vision plan. Both of my children have grown up understanding and knowing about vision plans, that as a couple, hopefully you are kind of mapping out what that vision plan looks like for, let's say, just 2022 or the next 6 months or the next 3 months, whatever you would like to measure it as. I'm going to pause and allow my two co hosts to interject if they so choose.
Yes, thank you. I want to welcome Cameron. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Wow, guys, this is a rare thing.
This is huge. This is very huge. If you are here to witness this, you are blessed.
You
Truly
are
blessed.
truly blessed.
Can you hear us, Cameron? Because we can't hear you, my dear.
Let me see your phone. Oh, you probably have to hold on one moment, guys. I have to go
Yeah.
off. Taylor, you can
So,
interject your thoughts if you have any.
yes.
So you were talking about securing the bag.
But was he saying securing
and
it with by myself or with the couple? I missed that. Are we
so
securing
you
it?
can do both. I mean, if
Okay.
you're single, of course you need to be securing the bag single. But when you are in a relationship, I would believe securing the bag would mean that you're securing it in a bigger, faster fashion. Um when you're in a relationship, yes, you are still securing the bag. If you guys are not securing the bag, then what are you doing? Honestly, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm
But
going
you're
to the
I
club.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to the club.
You said you said
I'm
what?
going to get
I'm
my hair.
sorry.
I'm going to the club and get my hair did.
Oh, that's what you're doing. You're not securing no
I'm
bag.
doing. I'm spending my money too.
Spending
I'm
I
not
mean,
leveling up.
and this is what we have to know also about relationships. What may look one way to me may not look one way to my mother. It may not look a certain way to my sister or to you. So you have to know what your preferences are, and everyone's is going to be different. But I think what you need to find out is, if you are single, what does that look like for you? If you are in a relationship, what does that look like for your relationship specifically? Um, each relationship is going to be different, so you have to mold it and treat it as such. You can't, a lot of people, what they do is compare, and I think that is where a lot of relationships have a downfall, because you're too busy comparing yourself to another relationship. It's putting your focus on that as opposed to your own individual relationship.
You know what? That is so true. I remember being in this relationship, and this was, oh, I'm gonna date myself. When kind of, it wasn't even digital phones yet, but it was like it was no longer a flip phone anymore. And so I got a new phone just because I needed one, not because I'm trying to be fancy. And he literally just was so jealous of my phone. I mean, to the point where he,
Run,
well, that was 1,000 years ago. You were, and
run.
I was so confused because it's
If
just
there
the
is any
phone.
type of
Yes,
in a
run away.
relationship, I believe if there's jealousy, then there
Mm,
is resentment.
yes,
There
it is.
is,
Yes.
you're not trying to build me up, you're trying to break
Yep.
me down.
Yep.
I believe that if you are in a healthy relationship, it would look nothing but love, support, and actually
Mhm.
excitement. If you had, like,
There
it
you
could be
go.
as little as a
Yes.
phone, or like a new job, or a new like a new car.
Yep.
It can look different, but it should just be support. It should not be jealousy.
Yes. So did we finally get Cameron mic together?
We did get her mic together. I'm going to leave a space to see. There's a little bit of a delay, so we apologize if she would like to interject any thoughts about relationships.
Hello and welcome to the show.
Oh,
Speak on it, Cameron.
she said no. I just
No.
heard from the back, no.
You don't
Okay,
want to
well,
speak on.
thank you, Cameron. Thanks for just being in the space with us.
So Cameron, what
All
would you
right.
like to say? Anything?
Oh, she said she doesn't want to say anything. She just wants to hang out with us.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. So, to everyone, the other thing that I would like to talk about in securing the couple bag and what that looks like, um, is your personal development as a couple. So, if mental health and wellness is not part of your relationship conversations, before you're in an emergency situation or in a difficult space, it's good to have those kind of conversations. Like I said, how do you manage stress? How do you manage disappointment? How do you manage feelings of insecurity in the relationship? Um, what are those feelings that you may have of insecurity in the relationship? If those are not common conversations, the relationship will be constantly under distress. And when something outside happens to challenge or put pressure on your relationship, you will not have the tools necessary to navigate those things. So it's best to have those kinds of conversations long before you'll be in that stressful situation. I would also encourage couples to surround themselves with other couples who are at least seemingly successful. And I say seemingly because what it looks like on the outside may not be what's happening on the inside, but couples who are happy to share their process, to share what is working for them, how do they navigate some of those things. It's good to have that support. I am a big proponent of reading, watching, attending all of the different relationship workshops. There is no one size fits all, and there's no one solution that fits all. The best thing that you can do, just like any other education, is to put things in your toolbox long before you need to make a repair. Often we find ourselves in difficult situations, and because it is really heightened with emotion or heightened with hurt, we go to that toolbox and it's empty because we didn't do some of the work we needed to do before we actually needed to make a repair. And I do believe relationships can be repaired, but only if those tools exist ahead of time. And we also, as we talked about the other night, which is what things cause a repair to be needed in the first place. We won't know what those are unless we're doing regular check-ins. If it's once a week, if it's once a month, put it on your calendar, schedule an alarm, put it up on the refrigerator that you and your partner agree that there will be 45 minutes that you're going to do a check-in. If you don't have time to do the check-in every day, one day a week or one day every 2 weeks, do a check in. One of the best pieces of advice that I heard, and I cannot remember the couple at this time. I know their last name is Evans, but I cannot for some reason remember the first name. But they said that your marriage is before your children in
I
terms of
agree.
priority.
I agree.
Your marriage is before your children in the greater scheme of things. So if you have a spiritual belief or tenets and values or a spiritual creator, that comes first. Then you and your partner, spouse come next, and your children are after that. And most people have it reversed, which will again put extra strain on your relationship that should not be there. The reason why is that they said this to me was they were reminding me that your children will grow up and grow out, meaning they will leave the marriage as they mature and go on to have their own lives. If you have not spent the necessary time developing your relationship with your partner as a priority over your child rearing, then when they grow up and grow out, you will not have the necessary tools to manage a sustaining relationship with your partner if you were to put your children before your marriage. They come after, they need a solid, um, fortitude of an example in order to grow up and grow out, which is what you are preparing them to do. You are not preparing them to stay with you in your marriage for the rest of their life. Your job as a parent is temporary and specific in time. Your job as a partner should be a lifetime. So, another thing I would ask a lot of couples to do is, in order to secure your couple bag, is to make sure that you are raising your children to grow up and grow out while also nurturing your relationship and your marriage, because adult children can put a strain on that if you don't have that priority together. Anybody else want to add anything to that? Did they would like to suggest? Everybody's quiet now. I'm gonna check the comments real quick just because I haven't. See if there are any. How are we doing over here? Okay. All right. The other thing that I will tell our couples to do is to get comfortable talking about finances and bills and expenses. It doesn't matter who's paying what for your situation. That's your business. But I will say it should be a regular conversation. I have been in circles where women don't know what the bills are, or there's husbands that don't ever ask their wives because their wives write the checks. Um, this finance situation has to be a regular conversation as well. What the expenses are in the household, what new expenses the household should take on, as well as large ticket items should be discussed. And not just from a point of view of need. Sometimes it is going to be from a point of view of want, but that's okay because you're going to have in your toolbox how do we talk about those things so that that's a regular occurrence. One of my favorite folks who I watch on YouTube, At Home with Nikki, she taught me about creating a home management system. And it can look like a binder, it can look like whatever you want it to look like. Some people put it in their journal. But when you come up with a home management system, which talks about bills and repairs on the house and expenses that, and planning and saving and all of that, you will have in your binder, and you should refer to it often. Your home management system should have a section in there that talks about the finances. What big ticket items do we plan in 6 months? How do we make everyday purchases? What is that limit? And the limit is not to put parameters or boundaries on someone's desire to spend. It is just to make sure that we have talked about it. So in my household, we have talked about, trying to spend only about $40 a month on clothing for two reasons. One, you probably got a closet full of clothes, but it is to also help manage that we're not going out buying 100 or 200 or $500 worth of clothing when that may not necessarily help us with our other aspirations in our savings or our future planning. So have a conversation with your partner to talk about what it looks like to how much can be spent on personal products, how much can be is going to be spent on um, clothing, and then stay within that budget unless you get to the next point where you're sitting down with your home management system and you're talking about how to make adjustments. Maybe you said 40 in January and 40 did not work for anybody in your family.
I
So
have a question.
go right ahead.
Thank you. And I could have missed a few parts 'cause I had to go and do some technical work.
You may not miss anything.
My question to you is how soon, and I love this management house, what you call it, home management?
It's called a home management system. It's
Okay. And
basically
how
all of
soon,
those things in your family that you need
I got
to,
the gist of
you
that,
know.
yeah. So how soon should a couple talk about that? So let's just say, let me give you my, because what I hear in these YouTube streets, 4 or 5 months, 6 months down the line, we still haven't had that conversation. But now we really liking each other. Now we thinking about the next step type of situation. So how soon? And then you might find out that, hey, like me, I don't level up. I don't do nothing. I sit around. I don't clean. I don't cook. I don't shower. I don't do nothing. Okay. So I'm just telling you, right? So how soon should we have this conversation?
So, you know that part when people, so very good point. Thank you for bringing it up. That part in the beginning when you're like, oh my God, he's coming and the doorbell rang and I'm all
Yes.
dressed up and cute
Yes.
and I'm
Yes.
going out and we're on our first date or our second date or our
Ooh, I
fifth
can't
date.
wait. And I showered on those days too. So
Yes. Okay. I believe that, the first date, you kind of figure out if there's some chemistry, maybe a spark. You probably don't have these conversations. Second date, you certainly are like, I've got some interest. I'm interested. I'm trying to figure out if this is something I want to get more in depth with. This person makes me laugh. They make me feel some kind of way. I think that's the second date. Third date is sort of like, hey, we're having fun. Maybe we're actually doing an activity together, just kind of vibing off of each other. And so I'm going to do it by date rather than by like length of time because that can be something different for different people. By about the fourth date, if this is something that you hope to pursue, it is a good idea. And gentlemen, this is where you can take the lead.
I'm gonna be the
Gentlemen,
gentleman. I'm gonna be the gentleman.
this is where
Look at
you
here, honey.
can take the lead and simply start to ask more
You
in-depth
give me your
questions.
check.
You
You give me your check.
no, no. That's not how that conversation
Yes,
goes.
there's
In the
the
beginning,
viral where the girl she gives her
oh
husband
no.
the whole check, and he gives her $100 allowance. Probably, I'm gonna say because she's not good with money. How about that? She's not good with money like me, and he takes her whole check and gives her $100 each check.
And that's where, if you get to the point that your check is already being handed over, my guess is that you've had these leading up conversations. And if that is what you decide, knock yourself out. I cannot tell you that that isn't what you should be doing because each couple has to figure out what they need to do for themselves.
Bye,
But
Taylor.
what I will say is in the beginning, I would not let more than 3 dates go by. That by the fourth date, you are asking questions as well as giving them an opportunity to ask you questions. If
So
you're
pretty.
dating, if you're dating, is just still kind of in that zone of like, hey, we're just having fun, then I would have you check your maturity and also check the maturity of the person that you are
Okay,
engaging
I'm
with.
gonna.
Because if you're not having that conversation, then you have already kind of made the decision that this person's probably not a good partner for you. Because having these conversations and asking those questions require your own personal maturity to feel confident enough to ask the questions that you want to have the answers to,
How
and
much money you
hopefully
make?
the gentleman has the same maturity as well. If they don't, asking these questions will get to the bottom of it very quickly.
Yes. And I'm going to ask Taylor a question. Taylor, you want to jump in real quick? Okay, because I have a scenario, but Taylor, you go ahead and jump in. Oh, we can't hear you. You on mute, baby doll. And you look so pretty, by the way. You look
Thank
very
you,
nice.
thank you.
Yes, very pretty. You like
Yeah,
a little.
what I was going to say was it you definitely want to have these conversations sooner rather than later. But also, like how you're saying, like maybe the woman is just not good with managing money. Well, I would take myself the gender out of it completely because there are going to be places where my partner has strengths and I may have weaknesses and vice versa. And you also have to be able to communicate that and be willing to show and help each other to understand, okay, this is what it looks like to save your money, to budget your money, and have those conversations together. And also, with being in a relationship, now it's a different dynamic where you may have been used to saving up your own money and spending it where you wanted to and how you
Mm,
wanted
yes,
to,
you know I
and
would
not
buy
having to
Birkin
ask
bags.
questions.
I'm buying Birkin bags
You
and
have
all
to take a
that.
step back now because you are in a
Shoot.
partnership. So when
Mm.
you're in a partnership, there has to be a certain dialogue when made, especially in a marriage, and especially if you have children. You can't just go out and buy a Birkin bag because your children might need a school uniform, or you may have a
What?
bill that's coming up.
You got to go
There's
funding for the kids.
so as in a marriage, I think it is very crucial that you need to be able to have a conversation about your funds, and to also have a conversation about where the funds are being um, spent at, and how you are budgeting your funds. So I think that it's a level of kind of a balance. It has to be a 50-50 because you can't have one person putting in all the effort of trying to understand how to manage the money, but
Oh,
the other partner is just spending it
that's
however
a very
they
great
want.
point, Taylor. You're right, because only one person can't be. That's why the conversation should be had. So that brings me into one of my scenarios. Now I'm middle age, and the person that
I
I'm
love
speaking
that. I love that.
and the person that I was speaking with was over middle age, right? We were talking about financing, how you can set up things like in place just in case you get hurt. There's things that you can set up prior now just in case, right? There's a lot of different things that you can do. They were so unwilling to even discuss it. They just kind of come up with excuses, and just it was so sad that you have people, I don't know how old you are, but you're in your teens, early teens.
Who, me?
You, how old are you?
I'm
19?
middle aged. No, no.
You middle aged too. Well, young middle age.
Yes, on the lower scale of middle
You're
age,
way lower scale.
wherever that is. No, I'm
You
actually
might in
glad you
50.
said that. I'm actually glad you said
So
that.
it's not, and I want to point out how young you are thinking like this versus this person's age. So you
So
go ahead. You
there's
got
two things I would like to say. So the first one is age has, like, you have to take age completely out of it.
Yes, you do. Yes. Say it again.
Because if you're
Say it
going
again.
based off age,
Yep.
something that I may have been taught, the other person may not have been taught, and they've been going their whole life not knowing
Whole
this
life.
information, and vice versa. So you can't, like we were just saying, finances and money and financial literacy is very taboo in our community. And that's where we have to give each other grace, because where I may, like,
Aw.
you're raised in different households, you're exposed to different things. And also the second point I wanted to make is, because my mother kind of brought something up that made me think about this. I'm glad you brought it up. Is that everybody's at a different point in their life, and just understanding that, and
Mhm.
knowing that sometimes people don't want to have those conversations. It may not be because it may be just a pure ignorance to the whole entire situation, and you're just like, I don't care about that, I don't need to worry about that. But to you, you're like, no, this is very serious, you need to have things in place so that you are prepared. I would say, if the first conversation doesn't go very well, try again.
I love
You
it.
have to keep trying, because if this is someone you truly are trying to have a life with, and you're truly talking about a partnership, you have to be willing to approach the situation more than once, and not just give up just because the first time it didn't go as you planned.
Oh, that's excellent. And I just have one more question to you, then you can go back, because I know there's one question. This goes to Taylor and Cameron too, actually. It's a yes or no question. Cameron, you can just say yes or no. Do you believe marriage is a business? It's a yes or no. You cannot go no in between. It's a yes or no.
Yes, because initially it's a contract that you were signing, so that it is a business.
Cameron?
Yeah, I agree with what Taylor said. I think yes, because of the contract aspect of it.
Hold on. I gotta find my clapper. Hold on. Because I was out here looking for love in all the wrong places. That's excellent. That does not mean you would not love that person or be in love
You
with that.
get love from God all day,
That's
every
right.
day.
That's right, honey. Okay. Okay. Well, I can go to bed now. Thanks. This is it. This is the end
Well,
of the
well,
show.
well, let me do this though, because it's a lot of people that are going to be watching right now and go, "What? It's a
Oh, you're gonna
business."
okay.
Well, here's
Maybe
the
we can leave that
thing.
for another show. We can leave that for
Well,
another
okay,
show.
because I was going to
This
say
really goes deep
I will
into the
clarify.
You have to tune back in.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to tune back in.
Yes.
We'll
That is
talk
a
about
whole
that.
nother topic. Right now we're talking about couples who's securing the bag. So
Yeah.
we could definitely. I really. Ooh, go ahead. We'll. Um, Cameron, can you say something else, like a sentence, please? Thank you. Just give us a
Everyone,
sentence.
welcome my other daughter, Cameron. who is 20, who is joining us.
Yes, thank you for the welcome. A
We're glad
special
you're
guest,
here.
rare
Yeah,
special guest appearance.
yes, I love it.
Probably first and last.
First and last. I know that's right.
But most of the time, I am on the sideline, so I am a part of it.
That's true.
My mom's set up right outside of her camera view. I'm right there.
That's so, and we really appreciate your support and your voice. Thank you for lending your voice on Speak On It Sundays.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, okay. Now, Tia Marie, coupling, getting the bad coupling.
Yes. So the other part of it looks like having fun, enjoying
Oh,
your
that sounds like fun.
partner.
What if your partner is a frugal person?
So
Like,
we're
okay,
back at we're back at the financial part. So you
yeah,
mean are they
is it getting the
frugal
bag
so they
money?
don't do so well I said the bag because I'm saying the couple bag looks like a lot more things than what you might do
Okay,
individually.
okay, okay. I
But
guess I can supplement.
yes, but the if your partner is frugal,
Or boring.
um
Like they don't want to do nothing. They don't. I guess,
well then
but
I would ask how did you pick them as your partner?
before they used to want
If
to.
if you are a person who values and wants that.
Well, what if they were cool and fun at the beginning, but 5 or 6 years in later, they not as fun. So how what would I make that look like?
Well, I don't think you can make it look like anything. I think it might be what happened in that time frame that you all stop enjoying doing things together. What might be a strain on that relationship? It could be finances. It also may be the how you as a couple define fun for you too. I think Taylor said earlier, not comparing to someone else, but just sort of defining what fun looks like for you too. Um, a lot of things could have led up to why that is different. If it is a matter of just choice, then again, if you're doing those regular check ins, this isn't something that just happened to you all as a couple. This is something you've been talking about when you're having your regular communication about expectations and if those things need to be adjusted. Maybe your partner would say to you, hey, you know what? We used to do this all the time. That no
Hmm.
longer interests me. It might be a conversation, okay, but what does interest you now? Maybe
Right.
you changed into having new interests, which
Okay.
I recommend every couple look at. Sometimes
I guess
couples
do
do
a
get
switch
bored.
up. Yeah,
They
do
they
some
get they
switching
get
up.
bored.
Do some role playing. I mean, we do.
Well, couples can get bored doing the exact same thing. So I know couples who, for example, they gamble together. That's kind of how they have fun together.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
their love language.
Okay.
But then there's some couples that I know that like to go boating together, and
Mhm.
that's their love language. But
Mhm.
with all love languages, we need to make sure, again, we're doing those regular check ins. Maybe it's every quarter, every 6 months, every 9 months, and every, even your boss does these regular quarterly or semi-annually check-ins because they are trying to make sure that not only will your performance be the same, but are you getting all the development you need and support from your employer to continue advancing your development. So hopefully if you're at a point where as a couple you're not doing the things that at least you as an individual feel like you all used to do that used to be fun, then that needs to come up in one of those check-ins that you're doing regularly so that it's not just happening to you out of shock. It should be something we say, you know what, the next 3 months let's look at our interaction this way. Or maybe you say we do that thing for the 3 months and then we continue to seek another new thing that we would like to do so that it isn't boring. Or voice your opinion that, hey, I was feeling like we were, popping on this level, but last month I was completely bored out of my mind with you. And that don't make me feel great. It doesn't make me feel like I'm in a team, you know, but you cannot get to that point unless you're doing those regular check-ins, just like you would do in any other interaction, in order to keep leveling up and to keep developing the relationship, and know that. you have to be open that these changes are going to happen, and if these ebbs or flows are going to happen. Sometimes they're happening because that's what your relationship might need. Maybe you talk about when we start feeling bored, we do X. Maybe that's staying at home for a minute to just sort of recalibrate. Maybe it's spending more time with family because you guys have kind of been in your couple bubble. um Maybe it's checking in with your kids. Maybe it's some things you need to be doing with the kids. But it is never going to be exactly the same. You are ever changing, and so your relationship is always going to look like something different at different points, that somebody might put a magnifying glass on it. Just be willing to go with those flows because you're having communications about them.
I love it. I love it. I didn't know if Taylor had anything that she wanted to add to that. And if she would, I would ask what are some of the things that her and her partner like doing, like some of the fun things that the younger people like to do, especially during COVID too. Like, so I'm sure that can be I don't know, but I don't want to say
A
challenging because I don't
strain, a
know, a strain.
strain,
Okay,
a
so
strain.
what are some of the things that you're young, you're vibrant, you have that energy. What you guys are into? What can you do now?
So my biggest outlet and way to reconnect and regroup is traveling, getting out of the same day to day,
Yes, say that
going
again.
somewhere, going somewhere that you're is unfamiliar, and
Isn't it the best?
taking that. Yeah. Oh my goodness,
Mhm.
I just got back from a trip for New Year's,
Oh,
so
did
it's
you?
just
Oh, well, you have to tell me about
yes.
that later. Okay.
Yes, definitely,
Okay.
definitely. And it helps because when you're working and you're in a pandemic and there's not much you can really
Right.
do without
Yeah.
not feeling without feeling safe anymore now.
Yeah.
So it's a strain of work home, work home.
Mhm.
So when you're in that day to day, you're too tired to either have those conversations or have those one-on-one talks or do the things that you may have liked to do when you first got together or
Yeah.
started dating. But for me, it has been traveling and also that space. Sometimes you need the time apart. Sometimes
Yes.
you might be up under each other and it's like,
Yes.
would you just go somewhere?
Yes. And that's a great time to
So
get the mental together, so you can go and get the bag together
yeah,
so you can come back with some
get to
ideas.
it gets you in a way of getting to know yourself. It gives you that
Yes.
space to breathe. It gives you that space, like you said, to go venture out and see other ways to grow your bag. Because I think that's what a couple should be working towards, is to grow to work towards their own version of success. Everyone has a different version of success, and that's
I
why I said you cannot compare yourself to another relationship, because success for one relationship might be to have the biggest bag in the world. Success
Mhm.
for a different relationship, their form of bag is to be able to travel the world.
Yeah, and live in a little tiny
So
house or something, off the
yeah,
grid.
even that, or to be able to spend more time with family. Everyone has a different
Mhm.
version of what that bag is. And I would say you just have to secure it in the best way you all know how. And it's okay to get advice from other couples to see, hey, we were interested in this and I see this worked best for you. Can you give me some insight? But
Yeah.
also something we were talking about too is, yes, you see things going great, but you also have to be able to ask those questions about, what do you do when
When
stuff
things
starts
aren't
hitting the
great.
fan?
Exactly. I
Yeah,
love
and you want to go to couples that are open and willing to
it.
share
Mhm.
those tough times,
Yeah.
because a lot of people, especially with this day and age, with social media,
Nobody
they're
wants
only
to do.
showing you the
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
You're not seeing what's happening behind closed doors. They're showing you the best version of themselves,
Yeah.
because
And
it's
that's
on
what I
their
do.
time and it's when they want you to see it.
You only gonna see the best, honey.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's why
Yeah.
it's huge to not compare. If you're comparing, that's going to strain your
Yes.
relationship.
And it's not even real. It's
Mhm.
like based off of false. And it's
Mhm.
crazy how people do that. And that's so true. And I was gonna ask Taylor something. Go ahead, Tia Marie. I was gonna ask
I
her.
just want to acknowledge some of the comments. First of all, thank you for
Oh yes.
those who are watching us on Facebook. Please put a comment in the chat if you would like. I'm happy to read comments. But we have this from Charles. People grow into love and grow out of love due to stress, outside influence, etc. So you have to work on your relationships and marriage every day. I will
Yeah.
disagree with the out of love part.
Oh, really? I don't. I agree
Yes.
with him on that. Give me your version why, and
I
I'll tell
don't.
you.
I actually
I
don't.
agree
So
with him on
no.
that.
So this is what I will say. Okay. So let me do this. One is the guidelines should be that you never, once you love someone, you should, or hopefully will always love them. What you do though is, I mean, you may not always like them. You may not
He
always
said
want to
fall in
be
and
with
out of love.
them.
He
I
said in
don't.
and out of love.
He said people grow into love and grow out of
Out of
love,
love. Yes.
as he talked about in a marriage. And what I will say is, if I'm getting this right, so he can clarify in the chat if he means it. I'm not saying that relationships themselves don't grow in and out of love, because people move into ebbs and flows and move in and out of people's lives. But in a marriage, the version of love that is being talked about is not the version of love that I think most people are talking about. They're talking about like, and they're also talking about infatuation. You can stop being infatuated with someone. But for example, my feelings about my children, while there are days that I don't like them very much, there are days they don't like me very much, it does not ever deter how much I love them. And I don't ever fall out of love with them.
We're not talking about
Meaning,
children. Let's talk
no,
about a marriage.
but that is the exact same love. It's not different.
In a way, it kind of
It
actually
absolutely is
how
not
you're
different.
trying to your definition of it. Yes, my definition of it is no.
Well, I will say the definition of love, which is recognized as not just a feeling, but an action and a commitment and a duty, if you will, is the version I'm talking about. Now, I think the other kinds of love, I would really equate those to like or not like. Meaning I can be like head over heels, infatuated and feeling all kind of bubbly good feelings, and then that kind of phases out. Yeah, or I can love you and then maybe it turns to hate. That is very possible. Um, but in a marriage, because we're talking about what couples are trying to achieve, I am talking about the unconditional, the thing that something else should never come in and cause it to waver. So when he talks about stress and outside influences, when those come in, if you are a couple that is having conversations and having talks about what your future looks like, that's where your love resides. Those outside influence should not shutter or trample over your love for your partner. It will definitely put a strain on that interaction, but it should not waver it at all. So I'm talking, maybe we are talking about two different kinds of love,
No, we're talking about the
but
same
that's,
thing.
yeah.
This is your definition. Taylor, did you want to say something? Or you need to go out for a second. If you come in, just jump right in, Taylor. Or I don't know if Cameron want to say anything about that.
I just well actually kind of have a question for you ladies. That would be Tia Marie and Auntie. Oh, my auntie. And
Yeah.
my question would be, but if marriage is not about love, I guess I'm a little thrown off now because if it is a contract and it's not about love, then is are we
Well,
talking about a more so like unconditional to where it's like
Can I
no
hold
matter
here before you
what.
start? To keep going, Taylor. I want you to finish what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Taylor. I just want to
Is it
say
like
my
we're
point of
saying
it.
no matter what, we're in this and this is what it is, and we're gonna work every day to figure it out if we're having issues?
Right. Right. So yeah. So I'm hopefully I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but I'm 100% with you, Taylor. So for me, I would say yes. For me, it's not about love because love is subjective. That's why like your definition. Yes, of course. Like I'm gonna love you forever, but I would like to call it committed or be just being loyal to the goal, the business. If whatever our goal
The
that we set,
mission, the
the mission.
mission, the mission.
I'm gonna go through ends because in order to love, I mean, I have to love myself. I'm sure now being middle age, I've been in points where I didn't love myself, so it was impossible for me to love anyone else. So going through life, there's no telling what I'm going to go through. So I'm going to put all of that in there. But that's why most real marriages to me really that's authentic is not about love, because that people feelings change. We grow, we different. But you don't want to do nothing no more. Or maybe some people might be unable to do something, but you still have to be committed to that goal. You may not love that person no more, because whatever you feel like that needs to love you, they can't do it no more. Not by choice, but by circumstances, right? So I'm going to be committed to the goal. So yes, people do fall in and out of love with people. If you want to put love on the relationship, yes. So that's why they say stick with it no matter what, because we're going to fall in and out of love. But in reality, it's not about love. Most people do base marriage and relationships based on love. And to me, that's where we go wrong, because love is like an emotion. Like you could be unconditional with it, but love is really conditional. Now with kids, no, because it's a kid. It's different from now. I can have a type of love for you, but as a child, a mother, that's a little different for me to say. But in a marriage, it's business. Children aren't business. Children are produced through that marriage, right? That's who you really probably should be loving. And together you grow in love, and then you might grow out because you don't like the person no more. So to me, you're right, Taylor. If we want to base relationships and marriages on love, then yes, you're going to be falling in and out of love. Yeah. But if you based it on logic, the mission, the goal, you committed, you loyal, yes, you're going to receive so much more love that you can possibly think of, because you guys are producing what you want. That's my opinion. Tia Marie, are you on mute, Tia Marie?
I think
Okay.
it's off now.
Okay.
Thank you very much, both of you, for your viewpoints.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Was that Charles Alexander? Thank you for a
Yes.
great. That was a great topic. I did not just make your point, Tia Marie. I'm
You
reading your
did.
comments
You
on
did.
Facebook. Oh, but see, you maybe it was
Well,
because the way.
well, 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 let's go back. We didn't, we said we were going to reserve the conversation for another for another show. But when we talk about is marriage a business,
Which is the bad.
and we did not finish the rest of that conversation because in Western culture, marriage actually holds two places in people's lives. And in my opinion, marriage holds, well, really, I can even go as far as to say three places in people's lives. People understand marriage from a contract standpoint. They understand in the Western culture, they understand it from a religious standpoint, and they understand it from that emotional part of the feeling of love. And what I'm saying is love is what should help you make that contract. And it is the love that you have for yourself that should be just as unconditional as the love you have for your children and for your partner. All of that is the same love. That love is how we take care of each other. And how we take care of each other, the state has one version of that, which is the contract that is in the document. You go to a court, you get it signed, you get licensed to contract, just like a business. The human side of that is the other part, which is this is how I take care of you. Showing love, that's why I don't measure it different from it's the one thing for your kids and maybe another thing for your siblings or something else for your parents. How I show love is how I take care of those I love. And that contract of marriage is one of the steps in which to execute that. That's what I meant by that love is a part of it. How you love people unconditionally is how you take care of them. How that shows up in a tangible way is that contract, or some people choose not to do the contract and they do the religious, and that's a whole nother conversation. But when I say love, which is not differentiated, is how do I take care of the people that I care about?
You explained yourself so beautifully. Thank you. And I know your love shines so through everyone. It does. Everybody that
Sometimes,
you touch. Bam,
sometimes.
bam. I wish I had some stars I can blow up.
Oh
So
yeah,
you,
that would be great. We need like
yeah.
some visuals. We'll
Uh
get to it.
it came through.
But I
So that's
realize that we might be at 2 hours. I do
yes,
not want
we
to
are.
drive everybody in here crazy. I see the hearts and the love. Thank you.
Yes, thank
Um,
you. So
I
are we doing
can't
this every Sunday?
see. So
There's
on
some.
Sundays, I'm happy to get some more topics. I was glad to get I talked to a couple of friends who said those are the topics that I don't know about. And so thank you, friends who will remain nameless because I did not get your permission to
So who are
name
some
you.
of the topics that they would like to hear?
Well, one of the topics was a friend of mine said, I've got adult children at home. How do you do that? And the other topic that I actually got to talk about yesterday with a friend, like I said, I always try to make sure I got their permission before I say their name. So I'll make sure I do that next time. Was about how do couples level up, right? That this person was feeling like they were in a couple now and are married now, and uh, the woman was feeling like she was on a grind before she got married, and that grind kind of stopped as she became a couple, and how does she sort of get that back, get
Oh, I
back
can
onto
answer
that
that
grind?
question.
Oh, can I tell right? I can
I can
honestly.
answer that question. See, I ain't never get that question. Where did
Right,
you get
let's get
that
into
question?
it. Right, where did that
Okay,
come
Taylor,
from?
go ahead, Tay. Go ahead. Let's answer her
So,
question.
first, girlfriend, you need to level yourself up. That means getting right with God, getting your bag together, working out, maybe going back to school. That look like you putting you first because that's what you was doing before you got into a relationship. So what happened was you got comfortable, you got all in your feelings, and then you started to forget the things you used to do, even a spa day. You need to remember all the things you used to do when you were single. You need to keep that up while you're still in a relationship.
Very good
Okay.
point. Right,
Yes.
Asset, go ahead.
Excellent point. Yes. So now I would like to just everything Taylor said, and also too. Now let's just say I always say this too. I've never been married, so we're talking about a married woman, right? So I would husband may want. I don't know if they had the talk before. See, this is gonna when we go back to that talk. Like, what? So let's assume they didn't have the talk because that's kind of what I've been noticing. They did not have that talk, right?
Probably
So
not.
let's assume they did not have that talk. The first thing I will do is exactly what Taylor said. Start working on me first, where you're not putting your the relationship is not being hindered, and you're still doing the same thing you do in a relationship, but now you're taking that extra time out for yourself now. And then he's going to be asking you some questions because he's going to start noticing that hey there, Hawk, Hawk,
That's my
Hawk. How you,
granddog.
This is her grand dog. He wanted
and
to
we're
be a
going to
part of the
have to
conversation
have,
too.
yes, we're going to have another conversation about what exactly leveling up looks like for a woman, right? So you're going to change your whole outlook, your from the rooter to the tutor, the way you look, the way you talk, the way you think. I'm just saying.
Yes, and
So
we have
let's just
talked about that before. So
that's a
that'll be
separate
another good topic to go on to.
another
I just want
topic.
to put down Danielle Ware said, very true, Taylor. I've been on a journey to reconnect with myself. Absolutely.
Yes, because
And
everything
can I
starts
just
with
add to
self.
that comment? Can I add to that comment? None of the stuff we have been saying on this panel tonight is overnight. None of it. So don't
It's an
expect
everyday
to try one
process.
thing. It's an everyday process. And sometimes you might forget. Sometimes you might need your girlfriends to put you right back on track.
That's
But
the
it's
circle with
okay.
it.
Just
It
know
needs
where you're
yes,
at and know where you need to get to. It's perfectly fine. You just got to be
yes.
able to, when you fall down, pick yourself back up, brush it off, and keep going.
And two, if your girlfriend see that you fall down and they tell you didn't fall down, you better listen, okay? Because sometimes we don't listen.
You
But
want me to share that
y'all
story?
better
So,
no, not
I'm gonna
now.
share. I won't share the
No.
whole thing. I
That's
will just say
Patreon.
this.
That's
I
Patreon.
know.
That's Patreon.
I
That's this.
okay.
Those topics are Patreon topics. Okay. So those are priceless. No.
Okay. I'll
So okay.
just
So I
say
was
having a good girlfriend does help, and it
yes.
matters.
It really does. Somebody you really trust, right? Because I guess people can't be girlfriends, but somebody that you really trust. And
Yeah.
I would like for my nieces to trust me too, right? Because that's important to have that outlet, like you were saying earlier. But to your girlfriend that's married, you're gonna have to enter her. First of all, men are visual. Men want to see your sexiness again. Once you kind of change that around, that's going to help you get a little bit better. But we'll have to get a little bit more deeper than that. But she's going to have to feel comfortable enough to do that. Men are visual. They're not thinking how we think. I wish it was true, but it's get all that flu stuff out your
They're
head
also
and
very
get sexy.
simple.
Very simple and get simple. Get they're simple. You get sexy. That's it. And then we can start from there. I'm telling you, it's gonna change it.
Simply sexy. There we go.
Yep,
Simply
simply
sexy.
sexy. It's so true. I'm telling you. So that and people say, well, you gotta have something in the inside. Are women? I want to know if I bet it's just women that say that. He wants more than that. Who's saying that? Men are very easy. They're visual. They want to come home to something. If their man been working home, working hard all day, and he come home to you being lazy in the bonnet, you're not gonna get no more trips. I'm sorry.
Oh,
See,
somebody's on. Who's
somebody
on?
got a call. See, look.
Oh, somebody got a call. Oh,
Somebody
you
got a
got a call, Taylor?
call.
You're
You gotta
muted
go.
now. Um,
Oh, you muted.
I said no. I
so,
thought that was
May I
y'all.
just
Did somebody
interject
come
real
into the
quick?
call?
Yes,
oh, I'm
ma'am.
sorry. That's Cameron.
Yes. I just want to say thank you for having me, and it was a wonderful chat to listen to. The previous parts that
I
I
was
missed, I'm
too.
gonna watch back, but it is time for me to go ahead and start getting ready for work.
Okay, and we
I
appreciate you.
am.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, and we
Love
would
you
love to hear
all.
Thank
from
you,
you again.
Cam. Love you.
Love you.
Cam, love
Bye.
you.
Bye bye.
What I will say is, first of all, can we give a hand to our production producer of this show,
Oh,
to Raw
I mean,
Asset?
I think. Hold on. I'm struggle streaming now. Hold on.
I want to thank my guest, Taylor, a million middle names, Banks. Thank you. You can check her out on Instagram and on
At
Facebook.
Naturally Tay with 3 Ys.
Okay. So you had naturally Tay, three Y's. I
And
didn't get a chance to write it down, but we will next time. I would love to, talk more about this. But for your single
yes.
friend, when you're married friend, get sexy first. Oh,
And
can I
then
say
two,
something? Lord have
can you do
mercy.
what?
Is this PG? Oh, see it. I
Yeah,
can't
we're
be on
still
all
we're
these
still
PG
we're still slightly PG.
conversations.
The other
Okay.
thing I will say is thank you to all of our guests that have joined us in the chat. I am because we are. Hopefully I will be able to bring you more content. We are really gonna try to work on like condensing the content. Y'all, I don't mean to be on here this long, but we are having fun and we did have fun. So thank you all for joining us.
I had a
Thank
great
you to
time.
I want to give some honorable mentions. Um, some of the so I always try to make sure that we mention some of our black businesses that I would love to see you all
Woohoo!
go to. We have, I think I mentioned Nail Bites in Farmington Hills. Ra Asset mentioned Ivy's Kitchen in Detroit, excuse me, at the top of the call. We also have Sugar Please, one of my favorite places to go to in Novi at the 12 Oaks Mall. And I had one more on there, and my brain is, I'm losing it. Oh, the Black owned beauty supply at Telegraph and 9 Mile called Total Glamour. If you would like for me to share your business on our next show, please feel free to DM me and we will talk about the details so that I can share your organization or your show. I am going to give an honorable mention to Danielle Ware, who is the president of the nonprofit Community Equity Organization. And please go over to Facebook to Community Equity Organization to see what the schedule is this week. There is a meeting happening this Thursday. I also want to give a few shout outs to some programs that I'll be a part of this week, which is Showing Up for Racial Justice with Jess Passernick. Their website, I believe our meeting is coming up on this Tuesday. I'm also tomorrow night going to be with my group Conversations on Race with Irene and Lewis in that group. Shout out to a couple of my Rotary clubs who are really making an effort to bring DEI together and DEIJ, actually, the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Justice. You'll see me on some of their platforms this week. And right back here next week, hopefully Friday evening, for kind of our grown folks talk.
which
We're going to
I'm
talk
more
about
excited
relation.
about.
Yes, we're going to
Friday.
talk about relationships, and maybe, not PG, but not rated R, whatever's in the middle. We're going to stay in that place so that Facebook will let us shine. And then Saturday morning, we are going to do a little bit of talk about race and community, and the state of affairs in our community, so that we can also show up for each other in that way. I will be talking to you guys a little bit more about the launch of my nonprofit, so that we can get more of your support. But if you would like to get more content from me, and if you would like to support some of my future endeavors, I do believe we put the I'm sorry, Cash App link in the description, as well as on the page. Any support that you can give, I am greatly, greatly appreciated. You all know what I have done with funds and what I can do with more. So I appreciate your support. I thank my my producer rather, Aset, for helping me to live stream and to put this together. This would not happen without her support. I thank both of my daughters for joining our show tonight. It is very, very rare. You guys have no idea. I have been watching my daughters, kind of come on the stage a little bit, and it has been an honor and a pleasure to have them. I'm happy to let some of our conversations that we have at home actually get shared with you all, and hope that it is a blessing and a help to you. I want to send a shout out to my pastor at Life Changing Ministries Church, Pastor Roselle and Stacy, who actually we have a women's conference coming up, a Love on You banquet that I will be honored at later on this month. So I just send a shout out to them as well. If you want to find out more about Life Changing Ministries Church, please find them on Facebook. That is where a lot of what you see poured into me, I get to share with the community. Um, Many of the other nonprofits that I am a part of. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the work that you do and letting me be a part of what you do. I love each and every one of you. I love my FBA community. I love my family and my friends and my children. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you again next week. Have a good night. Be safe.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.